Welcome back. So we have got a tag response video today. So we've got tag response. I got tagged by, I think it was Tim, first of all, at Tim's Movie Waffle. Go check his channel out if you don't already know Tim. And obviously my friend James as well. So both good friends of mine. James over at Movie Mad. So thank you two for tagging me in. I'll be honest, I wasn't sure if I was going to get time to do this. But then it happened to fall on a week where I had a bit of time off work still. So I'm just cramming loads of videos in. Hopefully, anyway, it's the idea. And then I'll sort of leak them out over the channel over the next sort of few weeks, hopefully, so you don't just get bombarded with me. But yeah, pretty sure I got it narrowed down to 10. Now, obviously, a bit of housekeeping, a bit of like get out of jail free kind of info going on here. So this is obviously my personal top 10, and I wouldn't even go as far to say the top 10. So they're definitely not the best made films in the world, as you'll see straight away from number one. But they're probably the 10 that mean the most to me. So they're ones that have probably attached themselves to me in some way, like on a level, whether that's part of my growing up, whether that's like relating to personal issues in them, whether it could be anything. So obviously there's no way in hell anyone's going to have the same top 10. So which is why it makes it all interesting to watch everyone else's. So, you know, guarantee no one's going to have the same 10 films as me. So yeah, without further ado, now that said, let's get on with the top 10. So coming in, I've tried to rank these loosely. Again, on a different day, these will be in a completely different order. But today, this is the order I'm going to put them in, as sort of like 10 of my favourite films from the 21st century. So yeah, here we go. Number 10, Superbad. So yeah, perfect age for this one when it came out. McLovin, brilliant character in that. The comedy in this hits now, like all these years later, it still hits now. I couldn't not put this in the top 10 list. When I was making this list, as I think everyone struggled with, I think I narrowed it down to 100 movies. So basically, if anyone's going to do this list, I'd recommend doing it maybe like this. This is how I approached it. I went through everything I had past the 21st century, sorry, and I got a list down to about 100. And then from that 100, I just kept scanning up and down that list and picked out 10 movies that I know, hand on heart, I would pick out of that list and watch in a heartbeat at any given moment, you know. And that means all of these films have that kind of criteria for me. So anytime, any day, anywhere, I would be able to pick any of these 10 films and just put it in the player and have an absolute blast. So that is why this is on the list. Superbad at number 10. Number 9 is going to be a horror film, obviously popcorn on horror, so had to be a horror in there somewhere. Again, very controversial one probably for a lot of people. A lot of people don't like this film, but for me, it was one of the ones, or one of the only ones, that's really gotten under my skin when I watched it. Again, perfect age. I was on my own. It was a perfect setting as well. I was in my newish house at the time. I was on my own. My parents were away. It had old creaky floorboards. I was still getting used to the noises in the house. It was at night. I was cold. I was on my sitting there watching it, telling myself as a teenager I wasn't scared. And then as soon as the film finished, I was putting on every single light in that house just to walk around the house and go to bed, because this thing got under my skin, and that is Paranormal Activity. So for that reason, that goes on the list at number 9. So yeah, it's rare that a film will actually affect me or get under my skin, and you know, hate to say it, but everyone's got their weaknesses. Some people don't like spiders, right? And I can watch spiders all day long, doesn't bother me. But things that you can't see, that your mind can make you know, assumptions about, and bangs in the night and that sort of stuff, poltergeist, spooky movies, that symbolises everything about those movies for me, this film, and it has to go on the list at number 9. So number 8 is now this is okay, so that was the horror movie, right? And this is going to be the popcorn movie. Although saying that, there's probably a couple more in there. This one here, it was just a payoff and a treat and a welcome when it came along for all the fans that had followed the series up until this point. I saw this in 4DX at the cinema, so I got absolutely beaten up by the Hulk in that chair when it first opened. So that is going to be Avengers Infinity War. So yeah, when it opens up and the Hulk is basically taking on Thanos in the ship, in the first few minutes, my chair was beating me senseless. So there were punches going in my back. There was like shaking going on. There was all sorts happening. But I had a massive grin on my face. So yeah, the only person to get beaten up by the Hulk and still have a grin on their face, I'm sure. But yeah, obviously everyone knows this film, I'm sure. The finishing part of this film, which I won't spoil just in case anyone's not seen it, but what happens to a lot of the characters in this film, it was just amazing. I was so glad that I love it when a film dares to go somewhere and does it. A lot of times, like they get cold feet, they're scared to do something, and they kind of like they weave around something at the end. But this really had its goal. It knew what we wanted to do. It then shocked everyone at the time about how it did it. And yeah, I respect it for that. So yeah, this was a really good experience. It's part of my. I was actually a mate was getting married, and we decided we were going to go see this not before his wedding straight away, but like as a part of his sort of stag do type thing. So yeah, that will always stick with me, and a really great film. Now this one was one. So what was that? That was, so we got 10 with a 9. We had 8 was number 7. So number 7 on the list. Is a film that again just hit at the right time in life for me. The subject matter just struck me at the time. It's hard to explain. I mean, we've all got these films where they come along at the right moment in your life. You can relate to them in some way, even if it's got nothing really to do with you and your personal life. But the rewatch of this, considering the length, it's quite a long film. The amount of times I must have rewatched this one. How long is this, out of interest? 148 minutes, so over 2 hours long. But me and a mate, we watched this when we were teens, and the amount of times that DVD went in the player and we watched this. That is Into the Wild. So yeah, the true story basically of the guy who renames himself Alexander Supertramp, I think. So he goes and decides to give up on. He doesn't want his mum and dad basically are quite well off. They provide everything for him and his sister, but he has it in his head that he just decides he wants to just go live off the land. He wants to just go travel to, I think it's Canada. Is it Canada? Alaska. He goes to Alaska, and yeah, he just wants to go off on his own, live off the land. Doesn't care about an education necessarily. He's got his education. He gives away all his money to charity. Doesn't tell anyone he's doing this. He just literally goes for it one day, and it's this like sort of a coming of age tale where it's kind of like this guy just takes off and yeah, just wants to be left alone to do his own thing. He meets all these people along the way. What a great story this is. If you've never seen this one, highly recommend this one. Yeah, Sean Penn I think directed this one. So yeah, he did the screenplay and directed it. So yeah, highly recommend. If you don't know anything about the story, go in blind. It's such a good tale. Yeah, highly recommend. That's number 7, I think. Number 6 is another one. Again, this is all. So most of these films are basically going to be ones that hit me as I was growing up and have been attached to me ever since. So that's kind of what I should have named this list. This one here, a mate of mine saw this one at the cinema before I had a chance to, and I asked him what it was like, and he just came back and said, "You just need to see it." He wouldn't tell me anything about it. He just said, "You just need to go see it." So when it came out on DVD, I picked it up and yeah, never looked back. And that is Donnie Darko. So obviously theatrical cut for me 100% of the way. I'll go with a director's cut just to see what the studio's interfered with, but for this rare occasion I did that when I bought the 2-disc DVD I think back in the day, or Blu-ray, and yeah, the director's cut, it's like he didn't realise what he'd had or what he'd done between him and the studio, and the magic that was there. It's like he couldn't see it, and he was just like chopping it up and cutting it up in different places and putting stuff in that didn't need to be explained. And yeah, it was like you had perfection at the start. Don't start messing with it. So yeah, theatrical cut for me all the way. Donnie Darko. Obviously most people would have seen most of these films, but rough outline: this young kid, bit of an oddball, bit of an outcast to some extent. He kind of is going to school. He narrowly misses being crushed by a jet engine that falls through the roof of his house and would have crushed him in his room. Starts sort of hallucinating in some ways, potentially, maybe. It's a bit of a elusive film, bit of a kind of like, yeah, leave it to your imagination of what actually is going on here. It's a hard film to explain, but yeah, if you like sort of teen movies where it's a really odd kind of mystery drama, bit of thriller in there as well, I suppose, in some respects. Yeah, superb film. I know a lot of people like this one, so yeah, Donnie Darko for me at number 6. Number 5. So number 5, another one that when I watched this one, I didn't know anything about it, went in blind. I think I felt like when I was watching it, you know, when you start watching something and you're sort of like, you're almost half sitting down, you're about to sit down in your chair, and then you realise that you've been like sat on the edge of your seat for about 20 minutes because you've been so engrossed in what's happening on the screen, you haven't actually moved. That's the kind of thing that this film does. And that is Children of Men. So you've got Clive Owen in there, you've got Julianne Moore, and you've got Michael Caine, amongst others. But the way this film is shot, if you've never seen this, I don't think I even appreciated it or realised it at the time. I think it was just sort of going on. You're too busy being so engrossed by the story. It's sort of a post-apocalyptic in a way, but quite modern post-apocalypse. So like things are going bad for the world. So the population's dying off. So people can't have babies basically anymore. So there's no chance of new life from humans anyway on the planet. But it's all still set where you'd go around shops. Everything looks the same as pretty much as it does now, just a little bit more bleak. So yeah, basically the human population just cannot produce anymore. So they're dying off. But people are still going about their everyday life. You know, they're on buses, they're doing things, they're going to work, and it follows Clive Owen's character. Now, one of the early scenes in this one, if you've seen this film, you'll know when I think Clive Owen comes out after buying a coffee from a shop. The borderline jump scare that happens as he comes out of there, I think I nearly cacked myself because I didn't see that one coming a mile away. And yeah, it still stands with me now that what happens there. And then there's another shot where they're in a car, and again, you're so engrossed in what's happening in the story and what's going on that your brain realizes that what you're seeing is almost like a one-take shot of multiple angles of multiple actors in a car. You know it can't be physically possible, but you also know it's real. It's not CG. It's all there, but you can't almost comprehend it. So you just sort of like, you're so busy trying to listen to what's happening in the story and the stress of what's going on in the tale. Something's just, something's going on in the back of the mind where you think, they're pulling so many tricks on me here and I can't see them. Like, it's so good. So yeah, really dark tale, I'd say. I won't tell you too much. There's a bit of a clue on the cover there, but I won't tell you too much in case you haven't seen it, because it's really good to go in blind. If you like quite a dark thriller, I'd say a dark thriller drama, definitely look into Children of Men, because highly recommended from me. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, number 4. So number 4 on my list is Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. Yeah, so this is I'm sure this is going to be most of these are, I suppose, but most of these, this one especially might be quite a Marmite film. You'll either love it or hate it. Slightly surreal, actually quite surreal, sci-fi drama, I would say, where you've got Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet, Kirsten Dunst, Mark Ruffalo, Elijah Wood. I think I was still following Kirsten Dunst's career from being a teenager. And Jim Carrey I loved from being in the 90s comedies that I grew up with. Kate Winslet I sort of was starting to get to know again from Titanic, I think that she'd done at the time. I don't know if I really knew who Mark Ruffalo was back then, but again, sort of probably mid-teens I would have seen this one. Deals with relationships, deals with a little bit of sci-fi, which I always like thrown in there, but a very grounded amount of sci-fi, if that makes any sense. So you're not like, no one's flying around on hoverboards or anything like that, not Back to the Future kind of sci-fi, but more like a subtle, advances have been made in various surgeries or medications or, things which then lead to interesting storylines. It's probably the best way I can kind of skate around the plot of this one. So yeah, Jim Carrey's character meets Kate Winslet's character. And there's something not quite right. They kind of like fall in for each other, but there's something below the surface you can't put your finger on. But it all kind of comes to fruition at the end about how and why something isn't quite right there. Yeah, really enjoyed this one. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil any of these in case anyone wants to check them out for the first time. I was thinking, I've always had these movies on my list, but now they're being talked about a bit more. Maybe I'll push them up the list a little higher. So hopefully that's the aim of this video anyway. So yeah, Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. Okay, so that was number 4. So number 3. So the order of these could be reshuffled about 12 times and I still wouldn't have a definitive order, but roughly number 3 is Mickey Rourke in The Wrestler. Now, This one, again, the style of shooting on this one was quite fresh for me. This was pretty much shot, I think, almost handheld, over the shoulder, kind of following this Mickey Rourke's character around. I think what grabbed me about this was not only the ending, which is a really powerful ending to this film, I thought. I just kept imagining when I was watching this, it's shot quite realistically, like almost like a documentary, but obviously not like a documentary. They're not interviewing him or anything. It's just literally the camera's there, shot over his shoulder, dealing with everyday life stuff. He's just going on his life. So this is a film about an aging wrestler. And when I was watching it, I grew up watching Hulk Hogan, and I grew up watching The Undertaker and all those early-ish wrestlers in sort of like the late 80s, early 90s, I guess they would have been. And I just kept thinking, like, all those wrestlers at the time I was growing up, they are all going to age out at some point, and they physically can't do the job that they've done for all their life. And that's what I attached to this film when I was watching it. I just imagined this is like Hulk Hogan for me. Like, he's one of the biggest superstars in wrestling, or was one of the biggest superstars in wrestling. And I just kept thinking, like, this is sort of what they're going through. They have surgeries, they fix themselves, for entertainment. But this just deals with the struggles. Obviously, it's not based on a particular wrestler. This is just a generic wrestler. But the tale is, he plays a wrestler he's aged out of the business, really, but it's all he's ever known. That's how he makes his money. So he's living quite, he's living on very little money in a caravan. And he kind of does these gigs to try and keep the money coming in. But his body just can't take it anymore. So he's getting medical advice just to, don't do it. But again, he doesn't know what else he can do in life to actually make money and survive. So it's a mental and a physical battle between, survival, doing what you know, doing what you love, but also trying to not kill yourself in the process. Plus it throws in a few emotional attachments from people that he's had in the past that he's trying to reconnect with as well. But yeah, really good film, really strong ending for me. I just absolutely love it. So that is The Wrestler. So number two on my list is another one. I think almost all of these are just based on my teen years, picking these up and attaching themselves to me, like I said at the start. This definitely did it. And this is a Cameron Crowe movie, Almost Famous. Now, I'm not massive into music. I don't mind music, but film is definitely the main joy for me in life. Music, I didn't really get into very much. So for a film about music and musicians and a rock band to be at number 2, it just shows you how well this film must be made or appreciated by me, I suppose. So yeah, really, really enjoyed this one. Follows a young boy who's sort of tricks in some way a band that he's from Rolling Stone magazine, so he can follow them around and document them while they are touring. He's obsessed with music, he loves music. You've got Philip Seymour Hoffman in here, one of my favourite actors of all time. He's in there, and this kid basically tags along on tour, underage, supposedly not known to them, to this band. And it just follows his journey. He's like this young guy who just likes writing, and he's trying to write this big story about this band on tour, and it shows you what they get up to, the songs they play, the things they do behind the scenes, in hotels, the groupies that are there. Such good music, such a good soundtrack, fantastic storyline. His mum in the meantime is sort of trying to track him down and keep tabs on him as well, and he's just out there literally doing his coming of age thing where he's growing up, he's seeing what adults do in the real world, or at least in this world, and just loving life. So fantastic film. Check that one out if you've never seen it before. Highly recommend. Number 2 on the list, Almost Famous. And the top spot today anyway goes to Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight. I'm not going to, I can't faff about this. I don't know if there's a person out there that hasn't seen this film. Now, I love comic book movies. I had Batman 1989 was a constant rewatch on VHS when I was growing up. So the Batman character was ingrained in me. The animated series I loved growing up when I was a kid. Batman Returns was another one I loved over and over again. I watched it. Superheroes in general. Even way before the MCU, when I was watching things like Daredevil and X-Men when they were doing them through 20th Century Fox, loved them still. But this basically takes all those fun characters, I guess, fun storylines, fun over the top powerful not creatures, but powerful comic book characters, and it smashes them down into reality in the real world, which is the Christopher Nolan, an absolute powerhouse director, to essentially just bring this character, ground him down into earth, show physical pain and suffering and limitations of the human body. But even if you've got all the money in the world and all the gadgets in the world, you still find that there's villains that can do things that push you to the limit. Absolutely superb film, amazingly shot. It's a heist movie, kicks off. The heist movie at the start alone is amazing. I saw this on IMAX. I think it was my first IMAX, probably my only IMAX experience, and I just walked out there. I don't feel like I probably couldn't speak for like a day. I think it was just it sort of stunned me at how good it was. I was just sort of internally so excited that I'd seen this film and how fantastic it was. So yeah, I'm sure everyone's seen this, so I won't drone on. That is number one spot, Dark Knight, of my favourite films of the 21st century. So once again, thank you to James and Tim for tagging me in this video. I don't think I'm going to tag anyone in this video. I'll just leave it as an open tag. I'm sure a lot of people have done this now. So, but if you've seen this video and you feel like you want to give it a swing, and you watch this stuff, then feel free, obviously, tag and let me know you've done it, and I will check out the video as well. So yeah, now that's all said, thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks, guys.